Hey, what's up? Nitreg here from moreev.com, and I'm going to go over stats today and see what's going on with this player here. So let's see. I was checking over it a little bit before I started this video, but otherwise this is just completely new stats for me, and I'm just going to look it over and see what I can find. The first thing I noticed is the VPIP PFR. There's a little gap between there. Looks fine though. 3-bet is pretty high. So it's over 2,500 hands or so. So I mean, it's fine to have a high 3-bet, especially at 50 NL. So I think that's okay. I just think that a lot of times regs at these limits will have big 3-betting leaks, so we'll check that out. There might be some issues there. VPIP, or I'm sorry, not VPIP before. Went to showdown percentage and won money at showdown percentage. Went to showdown percentage is pretty high so far, but that's the number that's supposed to be over hundreds of thousands of hands. So over 2,500 hands probably doesn't really tell us anything. So I'll just skip that for now. Cool. So let's go ahead into this. The biggest thing is by position. I open this first, and it's kind of interesting to look at and kind of see how you play and how you approach the game, especially at 6 max. So if you can see here, let me go ahead and clear the filters. If you can see here, the VPIP and PFR, generally you're supposed to get looser and looser as you get further and further in position, and be doing a lot of your raising and stuff in position, because that's where you're most profitable. Typically we're supposed to be winning, usually, I mean, you should be like about break even in early position, but then you should be winning the most on the button. Obviously this is only 2,500 hands, so it's not going to be perfect. I'll expect you to be, winning in the big blind. That's fine. But then losing in another spot, that'll happen over a small sample size. But in general, you're going to be losing. You're definitely going to be losing in the blinds, and you should be about break even in the early position and winning more and more as you move along. So the winnings isn't what I'm concerned about. How you play is what I'm concerned about. So the VPIP, as you can see, looks pretty normal. Like, you're tight in early position, you get looser and looser as we go. Same with the PFR. It should get looser and looser, of course. But the thing that concerns me is how much you're playing out of position, which I think is a huge leak that a lot of people have. You're playing a ton in the small blind and big blind. You're playing more in the blinds than you are in the cutoff, which doesn't really make sense, because in the blinds you lose money, whereas in the cutoff that's where you're going to make the second most amount of money at the table. So you really want to focus on playing more in the cutoff and more on the button and less in the blinds. I think that's going to be pretty big for you. And as you can see, you're 3-betting a ton out of the blinds, especially relative to the cutoff and button. Now I realize that a lot of those times it's going to be bluffs, but it would make sense and it would be more beneficial if you were bluffing in position rather than out of position. So I would say that you shouldn't feel like you shouldn't feel obligated to bluff every single time someone with a high steal percentage steals against you. I don't think you have to do that. I would say that it's okay to be tighter in the blinds because it's 50 NL. People aren't going to really be pushing around or anything. I mean, some of them will try to play back at you, but it's not like a huge deal. I would just focus on playing in position, and there's nothing that they can do about it. Let them be the ones that try to outplay you out of position, and you'll make a lot of money that way. That's kind of the funny thing is, a lot of the regs try to outplay each other, by 3-betting their steals and stuff, and it's a good play here and there, but some people just, I actually find this a lot of regs will 3-bet way more out of position and make all their moves out of position and not really do it that much in position. And I would kind of challenge you to flip this around, maybe 3-bet in the blinds 7.5%, while you 3-bet on the button and cutoff 9.5 or 10%. So I'd urge you to try that out, switch those around. I think that will be way more beneficial for you, because you're going to be putting a lot more pressure on your opponents instead of bloating pots out of position with junk hands. So really try that out. I think that's going to be important. So